two parts to today's discussion. The first is on this very viral video by CNA, which is why aren't couples making babies. This is a 45-minute video, so I'll actually take clips from there and show you key suggestions, especially on housing. The second part of today's video is something that I'd like to propose, which is for all of us to stop saying that children are too expensive. So if you're curious to find out, continue watching. Hi guys, welcome back. Without further ado, let's start with the first part, which is a reaction to this video, why aren't couples making babies? The first story starts with this couple who actually shared a story of them living separately for over a year because they still haven't settled on the house. The husband has mentioned that they feel that resale HDB flats on the open market are too expensive, and the wife has actually mentioned that the cost of housing is the most important. They rather save monies by going the BTO route so that they can build their desired home more cost efficiently. All in all, this part mentions that they have been rejected 8 times in their applications. So I've actually looked for polls regarding how many times do people need to get successful, and most of the time it takes 1 to 2 times. But it's also actually possible that some have been rejected for multiple times. Having said that, a portion of the video has actually mentioned that they were once successful in their application, but they've actually turned it down. As you can see in the screenshot, that location is actually somewhere in Ang Mo Kio. And the reason that they've actually turned it down is because they feel that that project in Ang Mo Kio is underdeveloped. Now, personally to me, I am not too sure which part of Ang Mo Kio is underdeveloped. Ang Mo Kio is by PM Lee, and maybe some parts were taken out of context due to editing or stuff. But my gut feeling, if I were to critique on this portion, is that perhaps the couple doesn't feel a push factor. They're quite happy living separately or in each other's parents' house on and off. So they're kind of a bit picky. You know, if you have bought a house for yourself before, when you're not in a rush, you tend to focus on things that you don't like, correct? And on the other hand, if you're really needing a house urgently, everything seems livable. You know, on my second channel, I've actually done an interview with Lisa, who's actually a YouTuber. And in her story, she's actually shared that her current environment previously was not too good. There was disputes, and it was kind of unlivable already. And she had to move her families out urgently. So my advice to the couple is, first house, don't get too caught up with it being the dream house, what you want interior. It's a bit like most of us don't marry the first guy or the first girl that we date. Most of us don't work in the first job that we start for life. So start somewhere. Time is precious. Get this first house in and start your life living together. Living separately for more than a year after marriage, in my opinion, is not how I like to do things. Because when I think back, if you love each other, you want to spend more days waking up together. So time is precious. I hope the couple goes the route of resale. At least you can get the house faster. These days there are so many grants. And we pull up the summary table. You would see that if you go the resale route, it is true that it can be more expensive. But you have 80,000 from CPF housing grant if you choose a 4-room flat. If you choose one near the parents, you can actually get a proximity housing grant worth $30,000. All this brings the cost down in addition to the enhanced CPF housing grant. These grants come in very handy to close the gap to a BTO price, and again, time is valuable. Then I have this further suggestion. Stay in this resale flat first. Then, after 5 years, when your MOP is done, ballot for a BTO. Yes, it's possible. I have a friend actually who bought a resale flat, and then in the meanwhile, when he's eligible, he started making applications for BTO. Recently, I went to his house for a housewarming, and I realized it's actually a very good route to take. Yes, it is true that if you buy a resale, you take grant, and then you buy a BTO, you have a resale levy. Resale levy works because you're not allowed to enjoy grants twice. A resale purchase with grants is the first one. If you buy BTO, it's a subsidized flat. That's why there's a resale levy. But again, you don't need to waste time waiting for a flat. You have a flat to stay in while you do your balloting, and you can really be picky by then. By the way, resale levy is payable by cash. Do save up well for it. And if you want to change houses, definitely you need to have your savings foundations correct. So again, I'd like to suggest for the couple to go the resale route. Don't think too far ahead and start somewhere. The next story in this CNA series is actually with a couple who got married and stayed in a provisional rental house. In the interview, the lady mentioned that she believes that once a couple is married, they should leave and cleave. And while waiting for the BTO flat, they actually rented from government, and I guess that's where they started a family, because when the BTO flat was ready, baby was out. It seems from this picture that baby is 1 year old already, and I'd like to congratulate them on their journey, because I'm the astute parent, correct? Like it or not, I'm pro-family. So I've also seen friends who gotten their BTO flat, kept a baby's room, and it was empty for years. Because sometimes baby, it takes a long while. Not everything is within our control. And especially when you get older, the kid doesn't come as fast as you think. So again, this story relates to the rental housing scheme, and I'd like to share with more people listening in. Or if you have someone you know that can benefit from this, share this whole discussion with him or her. It's mentioned under the rental housing scheme that these are following conditions: citizenship, as well as the key one, which is monthly household income less than $7,000. I've checked around. The key part is at the point of application of your BTO, you must have $7,000 or less, not at the point of PPHS application. So again, apply for a BTO early, and if you still are eligible, you can actually rent this flat from government, which is something very basic, but you realize that it's super cheap. Some 3-room flats in Ang Mo Kio is just $800. Some 2-room flats in Bedok is just $500. Wow, so you can actually start your married couple life before your BTO flat. While I was researching for today's discussion, I found out more good news to share with each and every one of us, which is in this recent budget 2024, Minister Lawrence Wong has mentioned that couples waiting for BTO flats can now get a 1-year voucher to rent HDB flats from open market. That amount is $300 per month. Wow. So actually government is giving subsidy, correct? If you need a flat, go get it with subsidized $300, and I think it's very generous. So again, no excuses, living together and starting a family earlier. For couples who can afford a bit better, I know someone in mind, they've actually rented condo units that are very small, studio apartments, and they are paying about the $2,000 range. So you can see I've done some homework to show you that it's possible. And in this situation, the small flat doesn't really matter because it's just 2 people, correct? But you want the facilities like swimming pool and gym. And $2,000, which is $1,000 each, is definitely affordable for many working professionals. So as always, if you appreciate the research and sharing, smash the like button. And with that, I'll lead on to the second topic, which is something I like to propose. That is to stop saying that children are expensive. You know, there was a time when putting up these numbers made us seem so woke financially. Your child is precious. His future education could cost $1 million. Not just that, let me play a clip on a research paper.
To an NUS economist, in 2018, right, the cost to raise a child in Singapore is estimated between 280,000 to 560,000.
Yes, it is true that raising children require spending. But we don't say our total lifetime cost on beverage outside is $100,000. It's all part of life. It's all part of eating out and having an experience. We don't say our total lifetime holiday cost is $200,000. Because holidays is what makes us happy, correct? We grow when we go on holidays. So this idea on putting a big lump sum 10-year, 20-year amount on children is just stigmatizing children as the source to why a family is struggling financially. There are a lot of misconceptions in the market. What goes viral typically is when someone spends lavishly on their children. Bring them to private schools, big parties, big holidays. But I'd like to share some numbers to show that raising a family and children can be affordable. Do you know how much it costs for PCF preschools? If you don't have kids yet and you're thinking of having one. If you're earning a median income family range, about $10,000, the number for a PCF per month rate is only $300. That little. And the surprising part is it's going to drop. Yes, drop. Recently announced by Minister Lawrence Wong, the new school fees are going lower for this category from $315 to $272. Deflation, where everything is inflating, our school fees are actually dropping. Then what about for university education? Now my childcare is controlled by government. University cost is just going to bleed parents. Yes, it is true that universities in Singapore cost quite a bit, This first table shows you what it cost in 2013. In 2013-2014, 10 years ago, I studied accountancy. The fees for this cohort is $8,600 per semester. Now take a guess in 2023-2024, how much is the accountancy cost? Is the figure 20,000? 15,000? All wrong. Let me show you the latest fees. For accountancy, NTU is only $9,450. Was this what you were expecting? And let me calculate the inflation cost for universities in Singapore. If you're a Singapore citizen, the inflation rate is only at 1%. 1% inflation because everything is subsidized by government, correct? So again, if you raise children in Singapore as a Singapore citizen, there really is a lot of avenues that government is helping. Not that I want to trumpet that, but the data really shows that. So again, don't make kids the scapegoat if a family is struggling financially, because more often than not, lifestyle inflation is across the board in how that family has made choices. If you agree on it, smash the like button and press on subscribe, especially if you like topics like this that help you in your finances. And I'd like to end things with this. The simplest way to know whether you are able to afford having kids or not is firstly to check on your savings rate right now. If you have no savings, of course, you have no ability to bring a new mouth on board. It's difficult, you're probably not financially ready. On the other hand, what is the right amount? Is having 1,000 spare savings enough? Well, actually 1,000 is not too bad. You still have some means to provide, and then it's up to you to grow that and to sustain that. Question is, doesn't sound quite fun, correct? Why should I provide for a dependent? Now, if you ask parents whether their lives are meaningful or not, most would say yes more often than those who are non-parents. Because very often, meaning is related to heavy duty, responsibility, difficulty. Raising children does indeed give a profound meaning to life. Something that most parents, when they look back, would feel that it's a transformative experience. Hopefully I've shared something useful, and as always, I'd like to invite you to this previous video I had on a mother who has mentioned that it takes $30,000 to raise 3 children. Or if you have seen it, check this out, which relates to today's topic. With that, I'll sign off from here and see you there. Take care as always. Goodbye.